Hi, everyone. This is Terry Cook with Aortic Hope, and I am here to introduce a new community member, Stephen Freeman. He's probably not new, he's been with the community for a while, but he obviously is walking on his treadmill. I did not have time, unfortunately, to get on my treadmill, but I want to talk to Steve, get some information, hear a lot about him, and see where we can go from here. So go ahead, Steve. Why don't you introduce yourself? It is Steve, right? Or Stephen?
Yes, Steve.
Steve.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and some background information. Let everyone know who you are.
All right. Before I begin, I just want to say that today is one of the worst fatigue days. I just woke up, like many of you, feeling exhausted. I didn't want to do the interview. I didn't feel like going to the gym. I just didn't feel like doing anything. So I had that normal pep talk, said, get your ass up and get moving. And I said, but I'm tired. I'm just so tired. People don't understand this fatigue that we deal with. I don't feel like doing anything. And I thought about the whole purpose of this interview today. And I said, hey, how can you be a wellness coach and motivate people when you're tired like this? And that's why it's important to share that I get tired too. I am exhausted right now, but it's all about that motivation. I know me walking on the treadmill right now is motivating other people, and that
Correct.
allows me to psych myself up to just dig in and say, okay, now you have this energy.
Correct. And I
So,
also need to say that I'm on the East Coast and you're in California on the West Coast. So there's
yes,
definitely
yes,
even, is it earlier for you? Right now it's 2:30 here. So it's what,
yes,
11:30,
yeah,
10:30? 11?
11:40. Yes,
11, right. So there's a time difference as
right.
well. So that's probably why you could be more tired than maybe someone over here on the East Coast. Although by this time of the day, I'm usually getting that fatigue. I'm like, I'm done for the
Yep.
day.
That normal fatigue, you're like, yep, that's about 3 o'clock. My energy reserves are
Exactly.
tapped. And that's why I
Exactly.
tell people for us, it's important to do our activities in the morning time. You have to go when you're feeling at your best level. Your best friend may say, hey, I can work out with you after 5 p.m. But if
Hmm.
that doesn't work for you, you have to be proactive and speak up for yourself and say, hey, we can work out on the weekend, but I can't work out after 3 o'clock during the
Hmm.
weekday. I just don't have the energy.
Right.
All
Right.
right. So,
Everybody's definitely different. I'm an evening person. I would rather work out in the evening.
yep.
Yep. So
So,
anyway,
so
so tell us about yourself, Steve.
Okay, so I'll just start from the beginning. I used to weigh 304 pounds.
Oh my
And
goodness.
yes, I was 304 pounds and my ankles were swollen. And I used to look every day and say, you are damaging your heart. You're out of breath. Something's going on with your heart. You're just, you feel weird. And so that motivated me to start losing weight because I didn't want to have a heart attack. And I told myself, you're going on a low sodium diet, you're going to start eating oatmeal every day. You're going to act as if you have a heart condition. So I lost 100 pounds and I
Wow.
said, yes, you lost 100 pounds. You're feeling great. I was excited. I worked out for 920 days. And on the 920th day, I had spinal surgery. And I went in for the spinal surgery and I told the doctor, I think something might be wrong with my heart. I'm afraid to have the surgery. And they said, we checked, nothing is wrong with your heart, we're doing the surgery. So when I woke up from the surgery, I felt weak and I said, something's wrong. And they said, you had spinal surgery. 3 months went by. I kept going back to the doctor. I said, something is wrong. I feel like there's this warm hand massaging my heart. I'm passing out. They said, you had spinal surgery. You're still recovering. And the last time that I passed out, I said, no, something is wrong and you're not listening to me. I think something is wrong with my heart and I'm ready to file a complaint because no one is listening to me. So they did the echo and the doctor came back and she said, I'm sorry, but you have a thoracic aortic aneurysm and we need to run some follow up tests. And I told her, I said, what would have happened if I would have listened to all of you and just said, I had spinal surgery, nothing is wrong. I would have been walking around with this aneurysm near my heart, but I was listening to you. And so I started backing down, but I just felt like something was wrong. So it's more about advocating for myself. And
Absolutely.
once I found out about the aneurysm, I was still trying to do my rehab for the spinal surgery. So all of a sudden, I had these two things competing. Like, wait a minute, I have a life-threatening aneurysm in my heart. Now you're telling me I can't lift weights, I can't ride roller coasters, I can't do all these things, and heart rate is going through the roof. Thought I was having a heart attack. Heart rate shot up to 200. They had to check my heart and run tests, and they said, "You're stressed." I said, "Okay." So I became a stress management coach, and that's what led me to get the certifications. I said, let me become a stress management coach so I can figure out how to deal with this stress. And I started working on how to cope with all my stress, but I realized I'm still worried about how long I'm going to live. So then I became a certified longevity coach so I can learn more about the human lifespan and figure out how can I get as healthy as possible so that this aneurysm stops growing.
You
And
said
I'm just
I'm
a
sorry, you said a
longevity
longevity coach?
longevity coach. So a
Wow,
longevity coach,
I've
yes.
never heard that.
And most people have never heard of a
Mm-mm.
longevity coach. As a longevity coach, our job is to get you to live for as long as possible. So it's
Okay.
not about the 30-day diet to get a six pack. It's about teaching people how to eat healthy so that over the long run, eventually your body will lose weight, but it's not a race. The goal is if I can get you to eat healthy and get healthy habits right now, you're going to carry those habits with you for life.
Okay.
Uh, then I became a certified brain fitness coach. So I got all this stuff going on, still trying to process everything. Heart rate still going through the roof. I said, okay, let me become a certified heart rate specialist. So I started adding on all of these certifications and I started feeling better. My heart rate started coming under control. I started looking at life differently. And I started talking to more people in the gym. Senior citizens started talking to me more because they didn't have anyone to talk to about that end of the life cycle. Most people don't like talking about death.
No.
They're not comfortable with it. But that longevity coaching taught me, hey, everyone has all these negative thoughts and they don't have anyone to talk to about it. And I said, instead of just focusing on me, what if I take these certifications and start helping other people? Because it's not just me that's going through this. Because you find out you have a life threatening condition, you don't feel like doing anything.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, that
That's a
first month, I ate so much that first month, ice cream, cookies, just all this stuff that I normally wouldn't eat. The 300-pound me, that voice just came out, and everything that I had worked so hard, all the bad habits came back because I was stressed.
Mhm. Yeah, stress definitely does a different stress does a number to your body. It's in so many different ways, and some
Yep,
people don't even know what you don't know what it is and how the stress is gonna come out.
right.
So how did you get where did you go to get all these certifications?
So I was searching online. Just the first one was a stress management coach. It is oh, they're going to get me. Nesta, yeah, Nesta. Those are my
Okay,
certification inside. Nesta and the
okay.
Spencer Institute. And what I found, I had to read hundreds and thousands of pages. And when you're reading and learning something new, it takes away the stress because you're so focused on learning this new material. You really can't worry about being depressed or being scared because you're learning all this information. And the more I
Interesting.
learned about the heart and the aorta, I started feeling better, going, wait a minute, the aorta, it is very tough. So even though there's an enlargement there, the chance of it rupturing or dissecting isn't very high.
Okay.
So that took away some of the stress because when I first found out about it, I just thought if I sneezed too hard, something was going to happen. It's that
Right.
anxiety going, it's in there, it's in there. And now it's like, hey, it's in there. I don't bother you. You don't bother me. We have a mutual respect. The fear is gone, but I respect you. You
I
respect me.
love it.
We're good. That's why I'm walking. I talk to my aneurysm every day. I say, hey,
That's
my
awesome.
aneurysm, my aneurysm is named.
You
My
named
aneurysm is
it?
named. It's named Annie. So every day I go, Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? Annie, are you okay? For Michael Jackson's
I was
song,
gonna say
and
that's a Michael Jackson
yeah,
song.
I had to put some humor in there because this can
Absolutely.
be depressing. And when I tell people about that, it gets them finally laughing about my condition because everything is so depressing. But when you can actually take something and make a joke out of it and say, hey, it's in there, but I'm good. I'm not afraid of it anymore.
I totally agree with you. I think that it's so important. People are like, "Oh, you have to be positive. You have to be positive."
Right.
But I used to. My mom was sick, and through the end of her life, and I said, "Mom, stop doing that stinking thinking," is what I called it, because you
Yep.
start thinking negatively, it's going to affect everything. And I know that I personally had to do that as well. And people look at me now and they're like, "Oh my God, you look amazing. How do you feel?" I said, "I feel great because I." Have that positive energy and I
Right.
force it not for I don't even force it anymore, it just happens.
Yeah.
but I like myself and I've got that positivity that really does make a difference. It's so true. And then everything else I think falls in line with that, with the stress and all of that you're talking about and exercising. So how did you find out about aortic hope?
I was very depressed, and I was doing all this research, typing in aortic aneurysms, and I came across aortic hope. The word hope is actually what caught my attention, and I
Oh,
clicked on that, and I
okay.
was scared. I said, "Wait a minute! They have these support rooms. People are going to be looking at me. I don't want to go in a room." I was just terrified, and I read through everything, and I said, this is the group." And the first room that I signed into, that was the first time in months that I just felt supported.
Hmm.
People understood, and I'm watching going, there are other people out there living with this condition. And for the past 2 months, you've been dealing with this by yourself.
Hmm.
Imagine if you came to this group earlier. You had all these months of just suffering, saying, nobody understands what I'm going through, when there was a group out there. And that's
Yes.
why I went back to my doctor. I said, why did nobody tell me about these support groups out here? Said,
Did they
this
say
is
they did?
life changing. They
Right.
said they didn't know. Said
Exactly.
this was life changing in my recovery, going to the support group. You guys gave me the worst news of my life and then sent me on my way.
Hmm.
And it's not to
Yeah.
attack the doctors, it's just support is needed. When you tell somebody they have a life threatening condition and then you just send them out the door and you got all these different people calling you and you have all the appointments, you don't feel like a human being anymore. You
No.
just kind of you become a number, ID number. Come in, get your blood work. Go over here, get your test, and you're looking like, hey, I am a human being. I'm going through a lot right now, and no one's asking me how I'm doing.
Hmm. That's so true. I actually had dinner with Karen Anderson, obviously the president of Aortic Hope,
Right.
and another board member, Tammy Warner. She's actually going to be retiring from the board. Oops, I don't know if I'm supposed to say that yet. But anyways, but we said the same thing, that the support groups help so much. I know for myself that I was better after my open heart surgery, but it was the mental part of it. And I got into
Yeah.
those support groups and it totally changed things around. I laughed, I cried, I
Yeah.
talked, I listened, and I realized, just like you said, there's other people out there. Our situations may not be the same, but we're all living with aortic disease. And
Yes.
that's where these support groups are so important, because we all have that same disease. I hate that word, but it is a
Yeah.
disease. So yeah, the support groups are very, very important. I actually had a someone reach out to me yesterday with the same thing, had no idea about aortic hope, had no idea about it. He's like, you mean there's support groups and there's others like me? I said, absolutely. I said, that's
Yeah.
what we are all about. We are here to support survivors, caregivers. Unfortunately, we support the grievers too, because it
Right.
does happen, but that's what we're all about. And the more we get people out there to know about this, the doctors, the clinicians, everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
So, um, okay, so how do you check? You were talking about your certifications and things like that.
Right.
How do you check your heart rate and your blood pressure while you're engaging in your movement? I mean, we all know I've got the iWatch.
Right.
What else can we do? You got one
Honestly,
too?
I keep the watch. What I tell people is no one knows your body better than you. So even
Yeah.
me, even if my watch tells me that I'm good, if I feel very lightheaded, I know to sit down and stop what I'm doing. Check my blood pressure. Blood pressure is good, but if I feel off, I said, nope, I'm leaving the gym for the day. I don't even chance it. I don't push anything. And no one says, oh, you're quitting early. They just say, all right, I'll see you tomorrow. Because
Hmm.
it's about listening to your body, because we just kind of hard to put in the words. You just know when something is off.
Absolutely.
And that's the big thing I tell people. If you don't feel 100%, just cut your walk short.
Absolutely.
If you normally take a long walk, but something is off, cut your walk in half and head back.
Okay. 100%.
Yeah.
When the trainers that I use at my gym, they know my situation and they
Right.
know that, what my limitations, but they don't understand like we understand. And again,
Right.
I know my body. So they may look at my heart rate, because I have a monitor at the gym as well as it's
Right.
called My Zone. It's through
Right.
through the gym. And I also have my watch, but they'll see it on the screen and my heart rate will be high. And they're like, all right, Terry, you need to stop. I'm like, no, I'm okay. I know my body. And
Yeah.
it's very important that we listen to our body and watch our heart rate and monitor our blood pressure, all of that. But you're right, we know our body's the best.
Right. And my heart rate
Absolutely.
changed after I lost weight. My blood pressure stabilized, my heart rate stabilized.
Mhm.
My heart rate used to be resting heart rate sometimes was 110, and
Oh,
now
wow.
it's about 56, 57.
Mhm.
So everything changed, even with the blood pressure. My pressure was through the roof for over a
Mhm.
decade. Now, sometimes without medication, it's 109 over 68,
Without
110 over
medication?
70 without medication.
I don't like you.
Because I started doing I went on the low sodium diet 2 years before I knew about the condition. So I had
Mhm.
2 years of
Yeah.
treating myself without even knowing that the aneurysm was in there.
Gotcha.
So whatever voice was out there, that's what I tell people. If a voice keeps telling you something is going on with your heart, you need to listen,
Correct.
especially if you
Correct.
have high blood pressure. I knew it. I kept looking at my ankles going, your ankles are swollen. You already know, Steve, something may be going on with your heart. But because I worked in higher education, it's the stress eating. The beginning
Mhm.
of the semester, I'm eating, drinking. I used to drink 12 cans of Pepsi a day. I did the math. It was about 4,300 cans of soda
Oh
every
my
year, pack of
wow.
Oreos, a box of honey buns, a box of oatmeal cream pies, just all this stuff. I would get two Whoppers with cheese, and I would take a pack of salt and pour it on the Whopper. I would take a pack of salt and pour it on the salty McDonald's fries, just all of that salt,
Wow.
just for a decade, just tons and
Wow.
tons of salt. So, yeah.
You are such an inspiration because I would never looking at you now, that would never even cross my mind. Do you have, like, before and after pictures? Have you done that before?
Yes.
Yeah.
When I look at pictures now, I get sad because I kept a weight loss journal, and I can go back 12 years and I have videos and saying to myself, Steve, you're going to have a heart attack. Stop eating. You're doing this to yourself. But I couldn't stop myself from eating because of the stress.
Mhm.
And that's when people, well, you did this to yourself. I said, actually, we all stress eat.
Mhm. We do.
We
100%.
don't we don't know how to deal with stress. I have an MBA, college administrator. You work a six-figure job, and so I told myself, hey, part of having a six-figure job is being stressed out, and that's
Mhm.
not okay because your
No.
body can only take so much. Because I had lost 100 pounds, I was working out every day, but my blood pressure was still through the roof.
Okay.
Even a year
So
after I lost the weight, it was the work stress.
yeah. So do you're just doing all your coaching, the wellness
Yep,
coach? So you
done
don't do the
all the
other
wellness.
job anymore?
No, I had to quit. The cardiologist actually laughed. He said, "What type of work do you do?" I said, "Actually, I quit my job a year ago because a voice told me you're going to have a heart attack and die on your job if you stay here." I
Wow.
said, "I'm glad you listened to that voice. That was you saved your life."
Correct? You did?
I used
Wow,
to
that's amazing.
punch. I had a box in the office, and I would punch it every day, and I would kick it because of all the stress.
Yeah. Oh,
Just because
not good.
I didn't want to hit somebody else, and so I had this box in there that I
Right.
would just hit, and then I would do all these push-ups. I have videos of me just doing hundreds and hundreds of push-ups. And during the pandemic, a voice said, "You need to stop doing these push-ups."
Okay.
So the cardiologist, he said, that could have made your aneurysm rupture when you were
Mhm.
doing all those push-ups. What made you stop?" Yeah. I don't know. I just woke up one morning and a voice said, "Stop doing them." So after years of doing hundreds of push-ups every day, I just stopped, and I didn't have a reason why other than a voice just said, "I don't think it's a good idea to do them anymore."
So you named your aneurysm. I think you
Annie,
named that voice as well, because that voice has really done you some good.
it's very scary because I'm a mentor. And so with a young man, it was very competitive because they couldn't outdo me. So that was always a running joke. Mr. Freeman's the old man. And I would say, yeah, but you can't beat me in push ups. So I had this whiteboard with all of the push ups we were all doing. And the last day I said, hey, I'm not doing this anymore. And I said, why are we doing this? Don't do it anymore. Stop doing all the push-ups. Something bad may happen. So I just keep telling people, if there's something telling you something may be going on, listen to that voice. Even if the doctor is saying nothing is wrong with you, your friends are saying nothing is wrong with you, no one can tell you how you're actually feeling because people are so dismissive. Even at the gym, when I told them about the aneurysm in my heart, one of the guys in the gym came up to me and said, "You don't have to listen to the doctor. You look healthy. You were bench pressing how much last week? And now all of a sudden because the doctor is telling you have an aneurysm near your heart. You're supposed to change your life. I said, well, I can't lift heavy anymore. Ask that doctor. You keep lifting heavy. I said, well, here's the thing. It's easy for you to tell me to keep lifting heavy, and I'm the one taking all the risk. And they
Hmm.
said, but you don't want to live your life in fear, Steve. Right, but I'm not going to lift heavy weights anymore.
Correct.
That
Right.
that part of my life is over. And I had different people coming up to me to say, so just because the doctor told you not to lift heavy, you're going to listen to the doctor. So it became an educational thing to say, why is it that it bothers you so much that I'm no longer lifting heavy?
Hmm.
There
Interesting.
was this there was this anger for me that
Right.
I couldn't lift heavy anymore. And people would come up and say, if you need a spot, let me know. I'm not lifting heavy anymore. Why not? What's going on? I would explain it to them. And there's this mistrust of medical professionals.
Yes.
A lot of
There
people
is.
have told me you could have kept lifting heavy weights and nothing probably would have happened. You changed your life for nothing.
They don't know that. You don't know that.
And that,
You know, we don't know.
yeah,
But
it's the peer pressure.
it is. It's the peer pressure. We don't know, you don't know what you don't know. But at the
Right,
same time, we know there's things that we can minimize, such as the
right,
lifting heavy
right,
and, the salt, the bad eating, healthy eat. There's things that we can change to mitigate it or to
right.
minimize it or reduce the risk,
Yes.
especially when you have an aneurysm and you're a watch and wait, or I don't know, do they consider you a watch and wait?
Watch and wait. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I fortunately, I guess, sometimes I feel guilty. I don't have an aneurysm. I had two dissections, but I don't have an aneurysm. So sometimes I feel guilty because I know there's things that I can do that other people can't do. Yeah, it's strange. I'm strange.
If you could just, if you, for my knowledge, so
Uh,
there was no aneurysm, but there was still a
so
dissection.
yeah, I'll go briefly. So I actually,
Okay.
and not only that, I'm technically backwards because I had a type B before I had a type A. So I had the thoracic type B and they medically managed it. It's just my aorta dissected. There was no aneurysm.
Wow.
But what happened was I was getting CAT scans every 3 months and MRAs, and it formed an aneurysm. They called it a pseudo aneurysm. So they ended up putting a stent in my
Wow.
artery in my aorta just to block it from growing anymore. And then 10 years later, my type A, my top of my aorta tore. Just tore, no aneurysm.
Wow.
Yep. Yep. And the only thing we can come up with is that I found out before my dad passed away that he had two undiagnosed aortic dissections. So in my case, it sounds like it was hereditary.
Wow.
Yep. But yeah, and they were 10 years apart.
If I can ask you
Yeah.
one question, I know you're interviewing me, but
That's
what
okay.
no one can tell by looking at you, what keeps you going? The optimism, because I think that was the biggest shocker for me
Yeah.
coming aortic hope. I'm seeing people smiling. I'm seeing people with hope. And it's very weird when you're the newcomer and you see
Hmm.
all these people smiling, like, what the hell are they smiling about? Something bad happened to us. Why are
Yeah.
they smiling? It used to piss me off sometimes. Like, why are they happy? I want to be happy. Let me fast forward to all of this sadness. I want to be like them.
Well, it's like you had said earlier, we have to be positive.
Right,
And one thing that I've looked at for myself is that, okay, yeah, this could be a death sentence. John Ritter,
right,
Lucille Ball, all those people have passed away from aortic dissections, but I'm lucky I survived. Not only did I survive once, I survived twice. And I have to be here because I want to spread the word and I want to get more people to learn, not about aortic hope, fine. If you want to know
right,
about aortic hope, I'll tell you. But I want people to know about aortic disease, that this thing is out there, that aortic disease can be common, but dissections are not,
right.
and we can help somebody prevent it maybe, or realize, oh, I need to get this checked, I need to think about my family history. That's why I'm so positive, because I want to know, and I want to know that I help one person. If I help one person, I'm happy. If you ask my son, it's because I tell him that I want to stay alive to bug the crap out of him for the rest of his life. That works, and then he just looks at me and
Right.
says, really. He is 22, so
Yeah.
I still got a while to go. But I've made positive changes in my life. One of the things was I eliminated unpositive people. I eliminated the negativity. They
Yep.
kind of helped me along because they did it themselves, but then I realized after these people left my life, I am so much better off without these people. And I've met different people that are positive for me and that I stay positive for them. I did, like you, I lost some weight. I changed my hair. I changed my physical
Mm,
look. I had used to have very short hair. I've now
mm.
grown it out. Just little things like that that I like myself now. And even with my scar and knowing I've had dissections, I like myself. And that is a big part of my positivity. I also have a job that I absolutely love. I've been at my company for 20 years and I absolutely love it and that helps. But there was a period of time where I wasn't happy. In between my two dissections, I wasn't happy because I didn't have a focus anymore, but now I have a focus. Aortic hope is my focus. I survived my second dissection and I just want to keep living. And that's why I'm happy.
Wow. That
That's why I'm
motivates
happy.
me because my biggest fear is if someday I do have to have the open heart surgery, that's what I'm afraid of.
We're
But
still here.
listening, but listening to you, it's like positive energy. It transfers over.
Thank
When
you.
somebody is speaking positive energy, and you know that they're genuine, that even helps take some of the fatigue away. Just being around a positive person can help you go for your walk.
And I've learned that the hard way
Yeah,
because I was a very negative person for a long time.
yeah,
I had lost my mom, I lost my brother unexpectedly, then I lost my mom. And I was very negative. I was not a happy person. I
yeah,
wasn't, like I said, I wasn't happy with myself. And I had somebody say to me, I just don't want to be around you anymore because you're so negative, and I need to eliminate the negativity. And then I started to realize that. Then, unfortunately, I had my dissection. And then I was like, you know what? Excuse me, but
yeah,
screw the negativity. I've got to be positive. And I, even with my husband and my son, if they come to me and, something's bothering them, I'm like, all right, well, let's look at it a different way.
yeah,
And they're just like, all right, mom, we don't want to hear it anymore. But no, we have to be
yeah.
positive. And I think that's what helps us keep going. And, you said, just listening to me having open heart surgery helps you. And that's what I want to do. If I can help
Yeah.
somebody else understand it. And honestly, when it happened, it was emergent. I had no idea. I basically had 4 hours to think about it before I was in the operating
Whoa.
room. And I was like, I have, a bump at the top of my scar. It's not a keloid, but
Right.
it's something else. And at first I was embarrassed by it. I'm like, I don't want anybody to see that. And then finally I said, you know what? It's a badge of courage. You can see it all you want. If I wear the
That's right.
lower necklines, I don't care because you know what? Let somebody ask me about it. Let somebody ask me, and sorry, there was a bug flying.
Yeah.
Let somebody ask me about it because I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to tell you why. So that's my positive, and that's why. And to be honest with you, the other thing too with aortic hope was I was physically fine, and I think I may have already said this, but I was physically fine after my surgery. It was the mental
Wow.
part. I was suffering so bad, and then I found. Oh, I did say it already. Then I found aortic hope, but yeah, it's the
No,
mental part.
I like the extra motivation because I'm so active. My biggest fear is the open heart surgery and what that's
Yes.
going to mean for me being an active person. But I also have to remember it's very different having a repair
Hmm.
versus having a dissection, and the
Correct.
doctors are scrambling because they're just
Correct.
trying to save you. They're not,
Correct.
they might make some mistakes, but their goal is to save you versus a planned operation is
Correct.
very different. But it
They are
takes a
different.
while for that to settle in. And that's the importance of going to the support groups so you
Hmm.
can keep hearing those stories over and over again. And I remember I used to be embarrassed because sometimes somebody would be talking and I would start crying and then they're crying and I'm going, wait a
Hmm.
minute. This is the this is the place to cry, out in the real world, you keep all these feelings and emotions in, but when you come to the support group, this is the actual place where you're supposed to let everything go.
Absolutely.
You're supposed to
Absolutely.
share everything that you've been thinking about and fearing that you can't share with your family. Because I learned that the hard way.
Mm.
Different people would say, Steve, if you need someone to, talk to me. A week would go by. How are you feeling? If I'm honest, I couldn't really work this week. I kept thinking about what you said. That made me think if it were me, just I'm sorry, I'm depressed now. I said, so
Right.
you were trying to cheer me up and now you're depressed. Like I am because it's just man, you just got me thinking about all this stuff now. And that's when I realized we can share with family and friends certain things, but when you're really talking about the fear of death and just worrying about not being here anymore, that's where the support group comes in. And when you can see people at all different stages, that's what made the big difference for me. Being able to see people that had just found out that were just like me, I could relate to them. But then seeing people that say, hey, it's been 5 years, it's been 10 years, it's been 20 years. I'm like, wait, and they're still alive? I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
wait a minute.
Hmm.
I can breathe now. This
And
is scary, but it's livable.
correct. And to be honest with you, there is still fear. Even I am fearful that I'm going to have one day another open heart surgery. I, I don't know if if that's going to happen. I don't even
Right.
know why it would happen, but who knows? Who knows what's going to
Mhm.
happen, 10, 15 years down the road.
Right.
So that is something that is in the back of my mind. Am I going to have surgery again? And it's happened twice to me. Could this happen again? But I have to push all that down at times because I need to be here and I need to be
Right.
present. Be
Right.
present. Well, this is a perfect segue into my next question.
Okay.
What plans do you have to engage the community to be part of the movement for movement? Because everyone knows we have movement for I'm gonna say this wrong, I know, Karen will shoot me, but it's movement for Mondays or Mondays for movement, something like that, where we
Right.
just get people just to do something, folding your laundry,
Right.
getting off the couch.
Right.
That's our movement for movement that we do on Mondays, and we also have Medical Monday. But
Right.
what else? What do you plan? What else can we do with you or as a group?
I think it's more about me being transparent because what I typically do, people see me out for a walk, like, yes, today is a good day. I'm feeling great. But what I don't tell them is, you know what? I'm feeling like crap right now. But because I'm on camera, I'm going to give all this positive energy, but I'm feeling down today. I don't really feel I'm sad today. I don't know what's going on, but I'm feeling sad right now. I don't feel like going for a walk. I don't feel like moving. But what I do instead, when I'm on camera, I try to motivate everybody instead of just being honest to say, today is not a good day for a walk, but I'm still walking. I'm exhausted. Instead of doing 3 miles today, I'll do 2 miles. And if when I hit the 2 mile mark, I get an energy boost, then I will finish the 3 miles. And I'm not going to beat myself up if I can't do the 3 miles. If I normally walk at a certain pace and I'm walking slower today, that's okay.
Hmm.
It's not a competition. So it's more about me just getting people to understand for the rest of our lives, we're not going to feel like doing certain things. We're just not. And there is no one else out there that can do it for us. Nobody can make you get up except for you.
Correct.
You
Correct.
think you're having a good day, and then you just wake up and you go, I'm not going for a walk today. Why? Go for the walk, even when you don't feel like it. So it's more about giving that tough love with compassion to say, I
Hmm.
get it. You're tired, but I'm also tired too. And when they say, well, Steve, but we have this condition, then I say, hey, not to make you feel guilty, but I have 4 plates and 8 screws in my spine. I have severe neurological damage. And when I walk, I feel better. When I
Hmm.
walk, I don't think about the aneurysm. So it's really just, I want to show people that even when we're at our lowest, even when we're broken, we still can get up and get moving.
Hmm. Something that my husband always says to me, so I try my hardest to go to the gym 3 to 4
Yeah.
times a week. Um, and something he always says to me when I say, I don't feel like going to the gym tonight, he's like, do you ever go to the gym and say, wow, I wish I wouldn't have gone? You never regret it, whether it's the gym, whether it's walking, even at a slow pace, you're never going to say, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that. And
Right.
that's sometimes what we have to think about. I'm like, okay, you're right. You never regret it once you do it.
Uh, I
I mean,
want to
get
become a pain in everybody's ass. Like, damn it. I don't feel like going for a walk today. I don't feel like doing this laundry. But you know what? I know for a fact Steve went for a walk today. I know for a
exactly.
fact Steve did something today. So even if I don't fold all of the laundry, I'll fold half of it. You feel accomplished when you set small tasks.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
people I found, and it's hard for other people to understand, there can be just a basket of laundry. And you look and you go, it's taking me all of the energy in the world just to fold these towels. I
Mm.
don't feel like doing it. So I really just want people out there to know and understand. You don't feel like doing anything. You lost motivation, but we still have to get moving because we don't have a choice.
Exactly.
All
And
all of our doctors are telling us, "Hey, I want you moving every day."
correct. Absolutely. And, for someone like I, some people aren't fortunate enough to still work full time. I do have a
Right.
desk job, but that's why I need to move too, because I sit
Yeah.
on my butt all day long
Yep.
and I need to get up, and right now I've been so busy at work that I haven't, but I know in the back of my mind, I'm like, I have to go to exercise. I have to go walk. I
Right.
have to do something because for
Yeah.
8 hours a day, I'm sitting down
Right.
and, I have to do it for my health.
Yeah.
And my
I'm going to
sanity.
become so annoying. People see me, and sometimes they go the other way because they know I'm going to ask, "Hey, did you get your colonoscopy yet? Did you go to the doctor? Did you get your physical? What they say about your blood work? Did you go for a walk today?" So that's just the energy that I bring, and I know sometimes it annoys the hell out of people, but they do feel better after. Like you went
Absolutely,
for your
because you're
walk,
doing the
you didn't want to go, but you feel better now.
correct. Correct. You are 100% right. That's what we need. We need I think all of us need somebody out there to cheer for us, to push
Right.
us. Whether it's a spouse or a child or, whatever, somebody needs to be there. And I think the more people that we have to push us and to cheer us on and to help us in the right direction is what we all need.
Right.
We all
And
need.
I think it's the understanding. Some personal trainers, they don't know how to train people with medical conditions. So you can
Correct.
push someone, but don't push them to the point where they feel bad about themselves because they can't meet any of your goals.
Hmm.
You set the goal up here without understanding. This is the other thing I found out in the gym. Somebody came up to me one day and said, "Steve, you keep saying you have an aneurysm near your heart. What is an aneurysm?" So I started talking to different people, and they said, "I don't know what an aneurysm is. I know you said you have one near your heart, but I don't know what an aneurysm is." I started talking to family members. No one knew what an aneurysm actually is.
Right.
So years, I'm walking around saying that I have this condition, assuming people knew what an aneurysm was.
It's education.
Yeah,
100% is education. There's people that you can ask people. Some people are like, aortic dissection, what is that?
yeah,
And then people that are, of an older generation
right,
know John Ritter.
yep,
So, but then the younger generation isn't going to know somebody like that, but
right,
they'll know Lucille Ball or
yeah,
whatever. But that's when people are like, oh, now I've heard what it is, but they still don't understand it. They still don't know what it is. They don't know what limitations we have, what we can do, what we can't do. And that's
right.
what we have to do. We have to get that out there.
Here's the
So,
scary thing. I was a personal trainer in my 20s, and
okay.
one of my friends, he said I have a brain aneurysm. So I said, okay, well, if you're coming to me to train you, that means your doctor must have cleared you and you know what you're doing. So I didn't look up anything about a brain aneurysm because he said, I want you to train me 5 days a week for a month. So I'm thinking about money going, wait a minute, 5 days a week times four, let's go. And once I found out about my aneurysm and I started looking, I said, oh, I had him training 5, 6 days a week in the heat, all this heavy, all this crazy stuff, because I put the responsibility on him because I was the personal trainer. And I just assumed if he was coming to me, he had already talked to his doctor and got cleared. That wasn't the case.
Yeah.
He's thinking, since I'm the trainer, if there was something wrong, I would tell him.
That is an amazing point that everybody needs to be educated. The trainer, if you were a
Right,
trainer and did not have an aneurysm,
right.
that is, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Never
And
thought
then when I
about it
go
that
into
way.
the gym, they always check in and say, "How you feeling today?" I said, "I'm good," because when I check in, it pops on the screen if I pass out to call 911.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
I
That's
made
what,
sure that the managers and that the
yeah.
employees knew, but most people don't know that they're working out every day. Like, hey, if you pass out in the gym right now, do you realize people are going to stand around and wave, just think that you're hot? They're not going to know something is wrong.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
I've seen people in the gym pass out, and people just figure, "Oh, you're just tired."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have the same thing. My gym knows very well that if
Yeah,
something were to happen to me, if I get to the point where I can't talk or if I pass out or something like that,
right.
you better call 911 immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So
Yeah.
how much of time have you walked so far? I feel so guilty because I'm sitting here. I have to go for a walk after this.
Uh, 40 minutes. Here's the funny thing. I got up this morning and I did my three
Oh,
mile walk because the way I explain it, it counts, but this is work. And so I separate things out. This
okay.
is bonus
Okay.
because
Gotcha.
I worked out this morning and then I worked out before this. I did my weights, my lightweight training, and
Uh,
now I'm doing this.
this is
That's
awesome.
the other reason why I was tired. I tell myself sometimes I don't recommend this for anyone, but I take 16,000 steps a day. And it's
How
because
many?
16,000. sometimes
Okay.
30,000.
Okay.
Because I
Okay.
just, when I move, I feel better. It takes my mind off of things. I take 0 pills a day. Before I was taking 16 pills a day for all the neurological stuff, and they had me taking all this other stuff, and I I didn't feel like myself. My head was fuzzy, all the
Mm,
side effects from all the medication. So I worked with the doctors to say, what would happen if I slowly start pulling some of these pills away? Because the neurological pills, I'm losing track of time. Like I don't really know what's going on. I'm just kind of floating through life right now. And once I came off of all the medications, I was really able to process that I had the aneurysm. Because finding
gotcha.
out you have a life-threatening condition when you're already drugged up on neurological medication, you really can't process what's going on to you because now you're getting more pills, and you just have all these. You can't process what's happening to you.
Sure. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Well, see, I have to say, you are a true inspiration, and I am really looking forward to your training and your help and you
Yeah.
being a pain in the ass for us.
Yes.
So, I mean, like now I have some time that I actually think
Yeah.
I'm going to go change my clothes and go walk up. Plus, it's also beautiful here today, but I think I'm going to
That
go.
makes it's a reciprocal motivation
Yep. I think
because
I'm
I get
going to.
excited. I'm like, okay, I talk to people, they're about to go for a walk. I
Yep.
feel good.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Seeing a
Definitely.
smile, it makes the day better. That's why I tell people, like, Steve, why are you smiling? And what's with all this positive energy? What's the alternative?
Exactly. Exactly. So again, thank you so much. I'm glad I got to interview you. And like I said, we are looking forward to what you have for us and keeping us on track.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye,
All
Steve.
right.